Today we'll be adding a LongPress gesture to display a custom edit menu. We will be able to remove figures and change their color. Let's begin by adding the LongPress gesture. We will do this in shape, where we're already adding two gestures. Now, a reminder for those of you that have not worked before with UI gesture recognizer, we embed the action that we're going to execute in a selector, and that needs a function that has the Objective-C annotation. So that's what we did with the did long press. So we create the UILongPressGesture recognizer, we add the target, we add the action, and then we just add the gesture recognizer to the view. What our shape is now missing is someone to tell that it was long press. For that, we will create a protocol that will be the shape delegate. We will just have one method, the long press shape, and it's a good practice that in delegate methods we pass the shape that is calling the delegate. It's also good practice to make every delegate a weak variable to avoid retain cycles. And here in the long press, we just call the method from the delegate, passing self as a parameter. Our shape delegate will be the canvas view controller. We conform to the delegate in an extension, and we conform to the only method we have. For now, let's just print. Now we need to add the delegate to each shape. We'll do that in the tab twice. Before adding the shape to the view, we set ourselves as that shape's delegate. Let's run and see how this looks. Let's long press, and there we have our prints. Notice that we have two. Stop. So notice the problem here. What's happening is we are calling the delegate method each time the gesture is called, whereas we just want to call it the first time when the gesture begins. And to ensure this, we just make sure that the gesture recognizer state is begin. Now that we have our gesture, it's time to, instead of printing, let's present our edit menu here. The edit menu in code is the UIMenuController. To present it, we call the shared instance with the shared attribute, and then we call show menu. From is the view that we're going to be presenting it from, and the rect is the CG rect over which the menu will hover. If we were to run now, we wouldn't be presenting anything. First, we need to configure the menu since we are not displaying it over text. We're displaying it over our custom view, so we need to specify the actions. So for that, in our configure menu method, we will call again the shared instance of the menu controller, and we will set the menu items. A UI menu item just has a title. So let's first create remove, and an action, which just like our UI gesture recognizer needs a selector, which means another method with the Objective-C annotation. Let's just print for now. Let's not remove the shape just yet. To be able to show the menu, a view needs to conform to the first responder. Our shapes don't do that. Let's make it so that the canvas view controller can, by overriding can become first responder and setting it to true. And then let's run and see how this looks. Nothing is getting presented yet. Let's see what I missed. Oh yes, after setting the menu items, you need to call the update method on the menu controller. And I'm also realizing that I never called this method, configure menu. Let's try again. And now we have our menu. Now instead of printing, we need to remove the shape. But notice that we don't know what shape to remove in that closure. So for that, we're going to use the shape that's passed in the delegate, and we're going to store it in a variable. This one should be weak, and we're going to have the selected shape. So each time the delegate method is called, we set this selected shape, and in the tab remove, we remove that shape from the superview. And there we have it. The view was removed. It even works with multiple shapes. Let's now add our next edit action, which is going to be change the color. To do that, we'll use a UIColorPickerViewController. UIColorPickerViewController is a class provided by Apple. It is very helpful when selecting colors. You just instantiate it and you present it like any other view controller. Let's see how it looks. And here we have it. We have a bunch of colors. We can choose the opacity, have slider, spectrum. There's a lot of options here. All we need to do now is confirm to the delegate to know when the user has picked a color. What we need to do in the delegate method is pretty straightforward. We get the selected color from the view controller and we assign it to the shape, which is already exposing the color variable. We set ourselves as the delegate and we run again. Okay, let's change the color. Let's pick another one. And oh, nothing is getting changed. Oh, I know why. Although we are changing the color of the shape is not getting updated. Our shape has content mode redraw, right? What we are missing is telling it that when the color changes, it needs to redraw itself. We do that by calling setNeedsDisplay in the didSet of the color variable. Let's try once more. Now our shape has a new color. And that was all. Using UIMenuController, we can customize the actions for a custom view. Changing the color turned out to be quite easy by using UIColorPickerController and conforming to its delegate. See you next time. Bye.